Top 10 Oddest Rules Actors Had to Follow on Set. Movie and TV sets are often fascinating places with their own unique rules, and some of them can seem downright bizarre. From strict diets to unusual restrictions, here are 10 of the strangest rules actors had to follow on set. 1. No looking at the director. Bird Box. On the set of Bird Box, director Suzanne Bier had a rule for the child actors: they were not allowed to look her in the eyes. This unusual rule was reportedly put in place to help them stay in character as they portrayed children in a post-apocalyptic world who had to remain constantly vigilant and fearful. It created an atmosphere of tension that made for an intense viewing experience. 2. Minimal dialogue allowed. A Quiet Place. In A Quiet Place, where characters had to stay silent to avoid alien predators, dialogue was strictly limited. Actors had to use hand signals, whispers, and facial expressions to convey emotions and thoughts, a rule that created a haunting, suspenseful environment on set and emphasized the film's unique premise. 3. Wigs and no hair dye. Harry Potter. For the Harry Potter series, actors were forbidden from dyeing their hair. Instead, the studio used wigs and temporary dyes to create the perfect look. The reasoning was to prevent potential damage to the actor's hair over the years and ensure consistency across movies, especially as the films took a decade to complete. 4. No blue clothing allowed. The Matrix. In The Matrix, blue clothing was forbidden on set. The filmmakers wanted to distinguish the Matrix world from the real world by using colors such as green and black within the Matrix, while the real world was shown in colder, grayish tones. This meant that blue clothing was a strict no-no to maintain the visual divide between the two realities. 5. Extreme eating restrictions. The Hunger Games. The cast of The Hunger Games, especially Jennifer Lawrence, had to adhere to a rigorous diet to appear lean and starved, fitting the dystopian society they portrayed. This rule emphasized the lack of resources in their fictional world, though it took a toll on the actors, who were kept on a strict calorie count during filming. 6. Mandated daily swimming. Baywatch. For Baywatch, all actors were required to undergo daily swimming training to maintain the physical conditioning expected of lifeguards. This rule applied even during off days, ensuring the cast remained fit for both the iconic beach scenes and the rigorous action sequences the show demanded. 7. No personal items allowed in costume. Downton Abbey. The actors on Downton Abbey weren't allowed to carry personal items while in costume. Since the show was set in early 20th century England, modern items like cell phones and watches were strictly prohibited. This rule kept actors immersed in the era's atmosphere and ensured no accidental anachronisms on set. 8. No smiling on set. The Revenant. Director Alejandro Inarritu imposed a strict, no smiling, rule on The Revenant set to keep actors in the serious mood required for the grueling survival story. The actors, including Leonardo DiCaprio, were discouraged from laughing or smiling between takes, enhancing the harsh, cold atmosphere of the film's wilderness scenes. 9. Intensive language training. Game of Thrones. For Game of Thrones, actors speaking Dothraki or Valyrian were required to take language lessons to master the fictional languages accurately. This rule helped bring realism to the fantasy world by making the languages sound authentic, adding depth to the cultures portrayed in the show. 10. No looking in mirrors. The Ring. On the set of The Ring, director Gore Verbinski prohibited the cast, particularly Naomi Watts, from looking into mirrors, as it was believed to add a sense of realism to the horror film and prevent the actors from overthinking their appearances. This unusual rule contributed to the eerie atmosphere of the psychological horror. These odd rules helped directors create memorable performances and immerse actors in their roles. Whether odd or strict, each rule added to the unique storytelling process that makes films and series so captivating.